Thank you for joining, or at least taking a look inside of this community. Before we go into the fundamentals, I want to give you a taste what this community is really about. You have to be very prepared, relaxed. It's going to be very simple exercise. I will give few exercises that I myself discovered myself, and it really helped me out. So it's going to be a basic visualization process. You don't have to close your eyes, but if you want to close your eyes, you're more than welcome to do it. Are you ready? Let's do it. The first one is simple one. A lot of people ask the question, what should I be doing with my life? Simple exercise in determining what you like, you don't like. Love it, hate it. Simple. So what are you doing? So before you really know, because some people are deeper than the others, some people find it right away, they know it, it's registers. Other people, like myself, found a difficult time to actually find what do I really love, what do I really hate. And guess what? There's a simple exercise to help you to determine your likes, dislikes, and then you can filter out even further. So let's do this. Imagine you walked into ice cream shop. Perhaps you might not like ice cream shops, so choose something else. Maybe it's a buffet. But for my real life experience, and this exercise actually grew from this particular experiment, the observation that I observed in that particular moment, which just gave me an aha moment. So imagine you walked into the shop, and then there's, let's just say, 50 different tastes of ice creams. Now, which one do you like? Which one you don't like? Which one maybe you're allergic? Which one? The same analogy in life. There's a million things in life you could be doing. Million, if not more, in combination. Think about it. You're born into the life, so to speak. You came into the particular family, and you see your father, you see your mother, your sister, your brother, everybody else doing something, everybody choosing something. So you question, where do I begin? Well, just like with the ice cream shop, you begin tasting, asking for a taste. You don't have to commit to buy entire thing, right? So imagine tasting, take a smaller thing, and just tasting it. Each ice cream, let's say you're like, okay, I like how this looks, right? Go to the actual shop, ice cream shop. That's what I've done actually. I've tasted all of them, and I determined that I only really like 3. Okay. And then I went back again to the shop, and out of those 3, I ended up really enjoying really 2 things. And that's how in life, right? Write 10, 20 things that you think you really wanted. So without even thinking, okay, like without really thinking, whatever comes to your mind right away, immediately, put it on the paper. 10, 20 things. Now, that's what you believe that you want to do in life. And look, it could be positive things, could be negative things, but I do encourage positivity, right? Because, but sometimes to know the light, you need to know the darkness. And that's where some people are afraid to talk about it. Can you even be in the dark? Absolutely. But here's the thing, something that you really love, that you believe that you really want to try it, put it on the paper. Now, once you've done that, you have to simply do those things and do it in the shortest period of time. Why? The reason for this is because you have ability to compare. Your brain gonna start comparing one thing against another. And the shortest period between those things, it's kind of like going to different films, right? Like, or movie theaters, or maybe different restaurants, right? Like in a week, within a week, you try to go to 7 different ones. The shortest amount that you can have between them, the greater your ability to discern what you really enjoy between this or that. It's kind of like going to Renaissance Festival and State Fair, right? And then I remember we were taking parts years apart. And then I think somebody asked me, and they like, which one do you like better? And that was my another aha moment. I went actually in the same year to Renaissance and State Fair, and here's what happened. I was waiting to experience both of them. I thought I liked State Fair, to be honest, a lot, and I think I like the Renaissance as well. Both of them great places, but when I compared, I determined right away that Renaissance by far was my favorite, even though it changed over years. But here's another thing that you have to consider. Once you actually take a taste of each ice cream, of each thing, the closest to the, so within a week, just go ahead, do them and compare them. See if you even want to do them. If they don't want to do them, just your goal is to do them, right? Whatever you write, to even make a one small step, so you can actually determine, do you really enjoy it, or it's just something that maybe somebody told you that you should, maybe you saw somebody doing it, and then you create this idea within your mind. So make a list and go through them. You're gonna end up maybe with, depending on the person, 4 or 5 things, right? I had like 4, 5, 6, around 6 things out of 20, right? And I really thought I wanted to do all of those things. So I went and did them all, or at least I made the first step, and I was like, no, no, I'm not doing it, right? Because certain things that it was interesting ideas, but once I started doing it, I was like, well, it's a waste of my time. And then I went through the list, and then I basically crossed everything that I don't like, right? And then basically, I started thinking, why am I not liking, even though I thought about it? After 5, 6 that were left, I took another week. Next week following, right away, immediately started putting myself into activity. Oh, I thought I want to play sports so much, right? But turned out I was like, I wasn't that passionate about it. And then out of those 6 things, within the same week, and it was now, I don't have to deal with 20 things on my list. Initially, I tried to write like 37 things, 40, 100 things that people say on a bucket list. And then I just never end up doing those things. But once I committed and said, hey, I'm going to do it within a week, between work and stuff like that. And then I actually did those things that I wrote 20 things, right? At least I put thought and effort to actually doing it. The first step, immediately I learned that, hey, 5, 6, and I was like, hold on. So all of these things were not that important. Next week, I was like, okay, I'm gonna commit myself again, because now it's like 5, 6, it's not that hard, right? So immediately I learned that, hey, 2 of those things, even though they're very attractive, but then I was like, no, I end up doing with the 3 things. After removing those two more, your goal is to remove a bunch of stuff that you don't want to do. Okay, so sometimes you have to do it through deduction. Okay, you remove a bunch of stuff that you don't want to do, that you believed you wanted to do. Now, those three things, again, you take another week, and for sometimes it can take a month, right? Like to learn that, hey, because you will be giving more time to one or another thing, right? And third one, it's simply gonna be like, well, I'm not that passionate, because you're gonna know between those two things. You're like, man, between these three things, I'm doing two things. And once you do those two things, right, you determine, hey, I really love those two things. You start, this is gonna be the most difficult level, right? Because now you really know two things. And sometimes you might question, go back to the list, right? Like, well, no, I want to try it. And go ahead, do it, right? But do it in the shortest period of time. Now, once I had two things, I was going back and forth. It took me like the 3 weeks, right? Like I was committed. I was like, no, I'm gonna do it because I said I love them, and I did. I started seeing that like I enjoy one and another. So both things I enjoyed, but in the process, I learned that even though I love this other thing too, the problem is that it comes out how much time we have. And it's like, as much as I'll enjoy this and it makes sense, like it will make a lot of money, and if I just committed myself, but something, it was just like I was going to this one particular thing, and I was writing, right? I started writing. I tried to get a publisher, and it's like, even then, when publishers said no, all of them, it was like, I don't know how many, over 20 publishers, because I was like so excited writing my first book. By the way, the link is gonna be in the school. It's so you can find it. Right now there's 4 books. There's another one I just submitted a manuscript. So, and I have a lot of writings, manuscripts in the process, different topics, but specifically what I'm interested in, right? So here we go. So once you find the two things, you're gonna be going between one or another, and eventually that one thing will definitely help you. It will help you to determine what you really love. That's your at the core, where you can put time, effort, energy, and you might be working temporary somewhere, but this what truly motivates you. This is something that gives you fuel, something that if you're tired, I just can't stop writing, to be honest. I can't stop. You saw those books, right? Those were about experiments. That's my documentation to structure within here, right? But that's not the type of writing I'm talking about. I'm talking about actual books. And I never thought I'm gonna actually do the book, right? I was like, I just want to write. And for exploration, I have over 6,000 pages. Over. That's one point. Like if you just take 6,000 pages, that's one step, 1 foot, 6,000 feet. That's 1.3 miles. You guys, can you even imagine? Imagine that's how the depth that went, and took a few years, but I got lost myself in the writing so much. I'm still writing a lot, like a lot. And I decided to dedicate, because I've learned a lot, and I see that people asking for help. So that's your first method. Now, I want to give you another method, very powerful method. This may take time, but it's very important. Okay, I suggest you do the first one. Put a comment. There's a win. See what you will discover. This will give you direction, right? I would love to listen and hear from you. See what you have to say. Now, for the second part, very powerful one. You can close your eyes, or you can take a backpack. For some people, maybe it's so difficult to see and visualize. But if you bring a backpack, imagine like this. Imagine backpack. This backpack was given to you by your parents, was given to you at birth. Once you grow up and you become a little bit more conscious and aware of who you are, where you at, now you start looking at, hey, and this backpack is the ideas, ideologies, beliefs, mental constructs, the books that you read, the teachings, the oversight, some kind of guidance that you receive, direction, and many other elements. Now you're like, okay, what is this important? Why is this so valuable? That's how I was. I start seeking. Why am I believing what I'm believing? Because I saw there was a conflict, there was a confrontation between the certain things that I saw, observed, things that people said, and eventually led to confusion, right? So what I end up doing is taking every element and just documenting. Christian Bible, for example, right? Uh, Pentecostal movement, Christianity, which was different, right? Like, but you had to begin. I had to begin somewhere. So I imagine that I took and dumped everything out of backpack, and started try to determine why am I given what I'm given. And then I started asking questions. I got punished for it, right? They said, well, you have to just believe. You can't challenge your beliefs. You must accept and abide. It's a generational, right? But as you know, through generation, you can pass down. What if somebody, an enemy, deliberately provides you ideas, wrong ideas, so that way you won't succeed in life? And they install these through your acceptance. They instill fear, the programming, the conditioning of your mind. And that's the next level. But we even did not even get to the fundamentals. I'm just giving you some methods that you can actually test it out, and they're effective. They're extremely effective. So what do? You take a look at what you have, what you've been given. You don't blame anybody. It's your life. You say, hey, this is my life now. My parents gave me whatever they believed is the best. That's how I see it. My parents maybe gave me the worst things, but they were not aware and conscious. Or maybe they were. Maybe God, Creator, the higher force, placed me for the purpose. So now it's a game, right? I'm trying to determine the values that, why am I giving this to, why am I giving this? What if I now start determining one by one? And then I found that, hey, doesn't really provide me a benefit yet, right? So I can put those things aside, but if you clearly can see that certain things causing you harm, right? Maybe you're not handling properly. There's a lot of components to that, but you have to first become aware of what you have in your possession. Without knowing what you have in possession, that backpack, maybe there are some things that just trash, right? Somebody forgot to take out trash. Happens. Imagine you go on a hike, right? You're eating the candy bars, and instead of throwing the trash, you put it back in the backpack, but you provide to somebody and say, hey, this is the most valuable. But yet, in my situation, when I started raising questions and directing at those who gave me the backpack, I was like, explain. And it looked like I was confronting, and I became a visible threat to belief system. So as a child, I had to shut myself down to myself and pretend to show that, hey, I can be trusted, right? Because like it's a very difficult. I was very observant. I was very curious. I wanted to know why things were the way, and I tried to dissect them to better comprehend how they were organized and why they were organized the way they are. I understand they exist. I understand you can use them, but I wanted to know why certain things are placed the way they are, and that's my been battle, right? From the how long I remember myself. why is this? Why is this made out of this? Why is this able to erase? What is it made out of it, right? What is the element? Understand those things. Now I can translate to you guys and help you to better organize, because now I understand the assembly of it. So it's a very important thing. But here's the bonus to this backpack, and it might take you many uh, years even, because there's certain things that are so deep. But here's the thing. Here's the bonus with the backpack. Imagine that you look at everything, but you have yet to look at the backpack itself. And that's a bonus. Imagine you start inspecting the backpack. You start looking. And what do you find? A secret compartment. A secret compartment. And you start finding something more valuable. Think about it. So it's a different level. I won't even go into any further. We're gonna stop at this. There's another exercise I could provide, but this is just to give you a taste. But before we can even go there, into other elements, I need to give you guys really fundamentals, because without fundamentals, and fundamentals is really, a lot of people are gonna be so afraid. They're gonna say, well, why do you call it's been used? This one too. All right. Let's see what we have left. Ezoterika. It's really esoteric. Right? A lot of people are afraid of that word. Why? But here's the thing. Exoteric. Now, a lot of people don't comprehend what the particular word actually means, and then it associates with something negative. I've been working on etymology, understand the words, the linguistics, how the language is built. I wrote actually a book you can find on Amazon. But here's the thing. It actually explains what the words are, how they're structured, what the symbols, because a lot of people don't understand. They're like, yeah, this word means this. Are you certain? See, when you have a communication and somebody else set up the association with a particular word, a lot of people just they actually experience fear, they experience emotion without knowing who you are at the fundamental levels. But before we can even go there, I need to tell you that before we can even have this conversation, and communication. I need to actually explain a very fundamental element before saying fundamentals. Here's the thing. Spoken words that I just use esoterica, which is means esoteric. Esoteric means internal, internal, within you. Exoteric, external. So esoteric could be internal within the group, okay? Esoteric knowledge, internal knowledge, external knowledge, exoteric. Simple. Before we can even go, and I'm not here to try to convince you, I'm trying to show you, okay? Because convincing is one thing, right? It's kind of arguing and saying, hey, you have to believe me because that's where it's written and stuff like that. No. Like I told you, I have experience, first-hand experience, and I want to show you so you can actually experience. Let me ask you this: when you close your eyes, do you feel yourself present? You're still within this body, right? So a lot of people are gonna use words, and words are powerful tools if you know how to use them. If you don't know, you're gonna make you fear. So you really have to comprehend what the words are, okay? And if we gonna rely on a communication using words, we have to be extremely careful, because understanding and comprehending each word, each letter, it's like a code for your mind. But it's a deeper level that I would want to introduce, but not in this video. I just want to give you the examples so you can test it out and enjoy it. I'm waiting for your feedback. Thank you very much.